A little girl asked a stranger at the airport if he was lost too. He was a billionaire CEO who hadn't smiled in years. What happened next would remind him why life was worth living and change both their destinies forever. The fluorescent lights of Chicago O'Hare Airport buzzed overhead as Marcus Holloway sat alone in Terminal 3, staring at his phone. At 62 years old, he was worth $4.3 billion, ran a pharmaceutical empire, and had just come from his mother's funeral. The only funeral he'd attended in 30 years where he was the only person there. His reflection in the darkened window showed a stranger. Gray temples, expensive suit, empty eyes. The phone in his hand displayed 47 unread emails, 12 missed calls from his assistant, and not a single message that mattered. "Excuse me, mister. Are you lost too?" Marcus looked down. A little girl, no more than 7 years old, stood beside him clutching a worn teddy bear with one eye missing. Her jacket was 2 sizes too big, her sneakers had holes in them, and her dark curls were pulled back with a rubber band that was clearly improvised. "I'm not lost," Marcus said reflexively, his voice rougher than he intended. "Oh." The girl's face fell. She looked around the terminal, with wide, uncertain eyes. "I think I am. I was supposed to meet my aunt at baggage claim, but I can't find it. And my phone died." She held up a cracked phone with a shattered screen, the kind you got from a prepaid store. Marcus should have called security. That's what any rational person would do. Instead, he heard himself ask, "Where's your aunt coming from?" "Nashville. She's gonna take me to live with her because—" The girl's voice wobbled. "Because my mom just went to heaven." Something cracked in Marcus's chest. He knew that look. That hollow, confused expression of a child whose world had just ended. He'd worn it himself at 8 years old when his father walked out, then again at 16 when his mother became too sick to recognize him. And now, decades later, when she'd finally let go with his name on her lips, a name she hadn't spoken with recognition in 5 years. Before we continue with Marcus and this little girl's story, if you believe that even the loneliest hearts can find their way back to hope, please subscribe to Everyday Kindness Stories. Now, let's see what Marcus does next. Marcus stood up, his knees protesting after hours of sitting. "What's your name?" "Lily." She clutched her bear tighter. "This is Mr. Buttons. He helps me be brave." "Well, Lily, I'm Marcus, and I think between the 3 of us we can find your aunt." He offered his hand. She took it without hesitation, her small palm warm and trusting in his. They walked through the terminal together, an odd pair, the billionaire in his $5,000 suit, and the little girl with holes in her shoes. Marcus found himself slowing his usual brisk pace, matching her shorter steps. "My mom used to say that when you're lost you should find someone who looks important and ask for help," Lily said, peering up at him. "You look important. Are you important?" Marcus almost laughed. Important. He'd spent 40 years building an empire, crushing competitors, making decisions that affected thousands of lives. He'd been called brilliant, ruthless, visionary. But important? "I used to think I was," he said quietly. They passed a family, parents with 2 kids, all laughing at something on someone's phone. Marcus felt that familiar ache, the one he'd learned to ignore decades ago. He'd chosen his path, ambition over connection, success over sentiment. He'd married once, to a woman who loved his potential more than his person. No children, no time, no point. The marriage lasted 3 years, his company lasted forever. That's what he'd told himself was the better investment. "Are you sad too?" Lily asked suddenly. Marcus stopped walking. "What? You look like how I feel inside, like there's a big empty hole that used to have something important in it." She hugged Mr. Buttons. "My mom told me that when people look like that, they need someone to see them. She said everybody needs to be seen." Marcus's throat tightened. When was the last time someone had truly seen him? Not Marcus Holloway, CEO, not the man worth billions, just him. "Your mom sounds like she was very wise," he managed. "She was the best." Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them back with the determination of a child trying to be strong. She got really sick, the cancer kind. The doctor said they tried everything, but nothing worked. She told me I had to be brave, that Aunt Sarah would take good care of me. But I'm scared, Mr. Marcus. I don't want to be brave. I just want my mom. Marcus knelt down, ignoring the protest of his expensive slacks against the dirty airport floor. He looked into this child's eyes and saw every moment of loss he'd ever buried. It's okay to be scared, Lily, and it's okay to not be brave right now. Your mom would understand. Did you lose your mom too? Lily asked with that devastating intuitiveness children have. Today, Marcus whispered. I buried her today. Lily's small arms wrapped around his neck before he could process what was happening. She hugged him with the fierce, uncomplicated love that only children possess. And Marcus Holloway, who hadn't cried since he was a teenager, who'd built walls so high that nothing could breach them, felt his eyes burn. I'm sorry, Lily whispered into his shoulder. Losing your mom is the worst thing ever. They stayed like that for a long moment in the middle of the terminal, two grieving souls finding unexpected comfort in each other's brokenness. Are you still with us? If this story is touching your heart, if you believe in moments of grace between strangers, please don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who needs to be reminded that they're not alone. Marcus wiped his eyes and stood, taking Lily's hand again. Come on. Let's find your aunt. They made their way to the information desk, where a harried attendant barely looked up. Nashville arrivals are at baggage claim C. Flight landed an hour ago. Lily's face crumpled. An hour ago? She probably thinks I'm lost, or kidnapped, or... Hey, Marcus squeezed her hand gently. We'll find her, I promise. They hurried through the terminal, Marcus using his commanding presence to navigate the crowds. People instinctively moved aside for him, just as they always had. But this time, he wasn't thinking about his next meeting or his stock portfolio. He was thinking about a little girl who'd asked if he was lost too. Because he was. He'd been lost for years, wandering through success without purpose, achievement without meaning. At baggage claim C, they found a woman pacing frantically, phone pressed to her ear. She looked like an older version of Lily. Same dark curls, same eyes. Aunt Sarah, Lily called out. The woman spun around, her face transforming from panic to overwhelming relief. Lily! She ran to them, dropping to her knees and pulling Lily into her arms. Oh my God, baby, where were you? I've been searching everywhere. I called security, I thought... I got confused about where to go, Lily said, her voice muffled against her aunt's shoulder. But Mr. Marcus helped me find you. He's lost too, like me. We helped each other. Sarah looked up at Marcus with tears streaming down her face. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done if... Her voice broke. She's safe, Marcus said simply. That's what matters. Sarah stood, still holding Lily's hand. She was younger than Marcus expected, maybe early 30s, with the same sad but determined look her niece wore. I'm Sarah Bennett, Lily's aunt. I don't know how to thank you properly. Today has been... She closed her eyes. My sister died 4 days ago. Pancreatic cancer. It happened so fast. And now I'm trying to figure out how to be a mom when I'm barely keeping myself together. And... She stopped, seeming to realize she was oversharing with a stranger. I understand more than you know, Marcus said quietly. Something in his voice made Sarah look at him more closely. Really look at him. You've lost someone recently, too. It wasn't a question. Marcus nodded. My mother. Today. The funeral was this morning. I'm so sorry. Sarah's voice was thick with genuine empathy. Do you have family here? Someone to be with? No. The word hung in the air, stark and lonely. Lily tugged on his sleeve. Mr. Marcus, you should come have dinner with us. Aunt Sarah is taking me to her house and she makes really good spaghetti. My mom said that eating with people makes sad things hurt less. Oh, sweetie, I'm sure Mr. Sarah started. Marcus Holloway, he said, and watched recognition flicker across Sarah's face. The Marcus Holloway? From Holloway Pharmaceuticals? He braced himself for what usually came next. Flattery, opportunism, requests for funding or favors. Instead, Sarah said quietly, Your company makes the medication that gave my sister 3 extra months. 3 months to say goodbye, to prepare Lily, to write her letters for birthdays she'll never see. Her eyes glistened. So thank you. For that, and for helping Lily today. Marcus felt something shift inside him. 3 extra months. He'd approved that drug's development 5 years ago, had seen it only as market projections and profit margins. He'd never thought about the actual lives, the extra moments, the goodbyes it granted. Lily's right, Sarah said, wiping her eyes. Please come have dinner with us. It's just spaghetti at my apartment, nothing fancy, but grief is too heavy to carry alone. And today, I think we all need to not be alone. Marcus opened his mouth to decline. He had a company to run, a flight to catch, a life to get back to, an empty penthouse apartment waiting for him in New York, filled with expensive furniture and crushing silence. I'd like that, he heard himself say instead. Very much. Sarah's apartment was small, a modest 2-bedroom in a working-class neighborhood 40 minutes from the airport. The furniture was worn but clean, the walls covered with photos, Sarah's sister at various ages, Lily as a baby, a family Marcus would never meet but could see lived fully. They sat around a small kitchen table eating spaghetti with sauce from a jar. It was the best meal Marcus had eaten in years. Lily talked about her mom, sharing memories with the unfiltered honesty of childhood. Sarah added details, laughing and crying in equal measure. And Marcus found himself sharing too, stories about his mother when she was young and sharp, before the dementia stole her away piece by piece. She used to tell me that success without kindness was just noise, Marcus said, twirling his fork absently. I didn't understand what she meant. I thought she was just old-fashioned. And now? Sarah asked gently. Now I think she was the only person who ever really saw me. He looked at Lily, who was making Mr. Buttons dance on the table. The way your mom saw you, Lily. The way she taught you to see others. After dinner, Marcus helped wash dishes while Lily showed him her drawings. Pictures of her mom as an angel, pictures of what she imagined Aunt Sarah's house would be like. Pictures of hope drawn by a child trying to understand loss. She's remarkable, Marcus said quietly to Sarah. You both are. We're just trying to survive, Sarah admitted. I work as a middle school teacher. The salary is, well, it's tight. And now with Lily, I need to find a bigger apartment, figure out childcare, legal guardianship, therapy for her, saving for her future. She stopped herself. I'm sorry. You don't need to hear my problems. What if I told you I wanted to hear them? Marcus said. Sarah looked at him with surprise. What if I told you, Marcus continued slowly, that I've spent 40 years building something massive and impressive and ultimately hollow? That I buried my mother today and realized the only person at her funeral was the son who was too busy being important to visit her more than twice a year. His voice cracked. What if I told you that a 7-year-old girl asked me if I was lost, and I realized I've been lost for decades? 3 months later, Marcus stood in the lobby of Holloway Pharmaceuticals headquarters, looking at the new bronze plaque on the wall, the Elizabeth Holloway Memorial Foundation. Because every moment matters. Sarah walked up beside him, Lily holding her hand. It's beautiful, Marcus. The foundation had been Marcus's idea, born from that night in Sarah's apartment. A nonprofit dedicated to helping families of terminal patients, covering expenses, providing support, funding experimental treatments. Sarah now ran it as executive director, her teaching experience and genuine compassion making her perfect for the role. Lily attended a good school nearby, had started therapy, and lived in a spacious apartment that Sarah could actually afford. Marcus had dinner with them every Sunday, teaching Lily chess and listening to stories about her day. But more than that, Marcus had changed. He'd promoted genuine leaders in his company who cared about impact over profit. He'd started a program offering free medications to families who couldn't afford them. He'd reached out to his ex-wife, made amends for his emotional absence. He'd started living like someone who understood he'd been given a second chance. Mr. Marcus, Lily tugged on his sleeve. I drew you something. She handed him a picture. It showed 3 figures holding hands, a little girl, a woman, and a man. Above them, 2 angels watched from clouds, At the bottom, in careful child's writing, family finds you when you're lost. Marcus knelt down, eye level with Lily. Thank you. I'll treasure this forever. Are you still lost? Lily asked with that direct honesty he'd come to love. Marcus looked at Sarah, who smiled at him with warmth and understanding. He looked at Lily, who taught him that the bravest thing you could do was let someone see your broken pieces. He thought about his mother, who'd been right all along about what mattered. No, Lily, he said softly. I'm not lost anymore. You found me. Sometimes we spend our whole lives running towards success, only to realize we've been running away from the very things that make life worth living. Connection, compassion, being truly seen by another human being. Marcus thought he needed to build an empire to matter, but a little girl in an airport taught him that sometimes the most important thing you can do is simply be present for another person's pain, and let them be present for yours. Good people still exist in this world. Sometimes they find you in the most unexpected places at the darkest moments, when you've forgotten how to see the light, and if you let them, they'll remind you of something you'd forgotten, that you were never meant to walk through this life alone. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that every moment of connection matters, please like, comment, and subscribe to Everyday Kindness Stories. We tell the kinds of stories that heal, uplift, and remind us what it means to be truly human. Your story matters too. Stay kind, stay present, stay seen. We'll see you in the next one, where another lost soul finds their way home. The greatest success isn't measured in dollars or achievements, but in the moments when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to truly connect with another human being. Sometimes being lost is exactly how we find what we were always searching for.